Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome back to another run of the Tarkir Dragonstorm Play Booster Arena Direct. This is a competitive sealed Tarkir Dragonstorm event. If you've been watching the other videos, you know that I've said I was going to stop like 4 times now. This is the final run of the Tarkir Dragonstorm Play Booster Arena Direct. Even if I find myself wanting to play another, I can't at this point. There are 12 minutes left to sign up, and then we'll have however long to play the games. So we got to get in there and get one final run done here. Now, the reason behind this, despite saying over and over again how I was not going to play anymore, is because I was looking at the event schedule on Arena, and the only draft format on Arena for the next week is going to be Tarkir Dragonstorm anyway. So if all I can do is play the same set, might as well play it in an Arena Direct here for another day while we still can. So without further ado, let's bust open these packs, see if we can't end this off with a bang. Maybe finally get a box here. Probably not, but at least play some more high stakes limited while we can. All right, this sealed pool, in terms of the rare quality, sucks. The Warden of the Grove is pretty good. The New Way Forward is pretty good. The Hellkite is decent. The rest of these, though, not the greatest. Been pretty disappointed with our sealed pools throughout this event. And this is no different. It'll be fine. We've got one Evolving Wilds, one Sandstep Citadel, Rugged Highlands, double Baron, double Tranquil Cove for fixing, only one Saga Wildling and no other green fixing, one Mardu Monument, no other monuments, 0 Dragonstorm Globes. I don't think I've opened a single copy of Dragonstorm Globe this whole time. That's kind of wild. Yeah, really not looking super fixing heavy, super splashy. Our fixing's pretty awkward too, because it's a lot of allied colored dual lands. Double Cove only go into Jeskai. Highlands only goes into Temur. 2 Barons for Mardu or Abzan, though. 2 Tri-lands total. Are there any multicolored uncommons here that are along the quality of a rare? Karakit Guardian's fine. It's close. Lion Weight's pretty good. So one pretty good Temur card, one pretty good Sultai card, one pretty good Jeskai card. I'm not a fan of those Abzan cards too much. Although the Holomerc Siege does add to the value in Abzan. Alright, yeah, I'm not seeing a super clear sense of direction with the multicolored. It is kind of splayed out pretty evenly, so let's look at each color individually, check out the card power level. Shut up, OneDrive, I don't care. Alright. Double Stormplay Entertainment out of white for good removal. Solid curve of creatures here. Obviously needs a secondary color with just as good of a curve, but it's got some decent cheap creatures. Pretty light on cards. It's a pretty light color in general. So while I do like those few cards that are there are not a high quantity of them. Blue, we have double Sib-Sig Appraiser. This is how I felt about basically every time we've looked at our blue and our sealed pool. It's always been like double Sib-Sig Appraiser and then a bunch of jank, like Bell Ringers and a Stag and a Humbling Elder type stuff. But it's another double Sib-Sig Appraiser sealed pool, so that does make the blue interesting at the very least. Check out the black now. 0 removal spells. Uh-oh. 0 removal in blue, 0 removal in black, 2 detainments in white. So there's that at least. The negotiations aren't exactly removal, but being able to rip your opponent's palm out of their hand if you have this in your opener is pretty fun. The creatures are not the greatest. Yeah, black is quite mediocre. The Stormbrood, the negotiations are pretty good. The Nurturers, Brigade, and Stormsinger are fine, and these two are pretty bad. Pretty mid. Okay, red is incredibly mid. Twin Bolt doesn't play very well in this set because most creatures are 3 toughness or higher. There's even a lot of 2 mana, 2/3s and 1/3s and stuff it doesn't play well against. Seize Opportunity is not the greatest combat trick. Summon Intimidator is a super filler creature. Boltcaster is a super filler creature without a really aggressive curve, and our only aggressive curve color is white, where there's not even that many creatures if we're pairing it in a color with very few. So I am not enjoying the sealed pool at all so far, but maybe green can change that. Green is where we had we had one great green rare, the Warden thing. So we're probably playing green. Yeah, I mean, there's 6 good red cards, basically. All right, green, what do you have for us? So looking at the green here, I do think it's probably the deepest color in terms of card quantity. There's not a ton of incredibly bad cards here that are just forced to cut. Really just the Heritage Reclamations. I don't love the Rejuvenator either, and we're not ramping into all that much in this deck. This is a mid sealed pool. I do have an Obzon rare, and I like our white a lot. Just the Obzon rare is just not even good. Like, it's not a rare quality card. You get to rip a card out of your opponent's hand, but then they get a big creature back when they kill this thing. If you picked up a big spell, like the best way to use this is to hit their like 2-mana removal spell if they've still got one of those in hand. But even that's not the greatest deal in the world. Yeah, it's just not a very impressive card. Honestly, not a very impressive sealed pool. Yeah, I mean, I looked at all the colors individually. I didn't see anything that stands out. Looking at the rares, Warden stands out. That's about it. Maybe New Way Forward, but I don't think our colors work for that. Green's deep enough that I would rather just go green, I think, and have access to the Warden instead of going Jeskai, playing these specific 3 colors just for the one New Way Forward. Probably blue-white at the core. Red is pretty light to cut 10 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This has a lot of mid filler. Double Bellringer, Stag, Mastery, Sun Shields. Yeah, this deck does not look good. Do I have other options I'm not playing? I guess an Effortless Master, Reigning Victor. Those are still kind of filler. Same with the Monastery Messenger. I guess I replaced the really filler stuff with slightly better filler. So I'm gonna put one more card back in. Oh, this is blue and red. Sure. This deck looks like poop. Yeah, I am not particularly into that. So let's go for a green build here that gives us access to our Warden. I think the best way to do that is going to be to end up in Obzon naturally, because we will get the rare and the Armament Dragon that way, which I think is fine. The Hollow Merc Siege, the Stalwart Successor. So green-black at the core, splash the white. Do I have enough black cards for that? Yeah, triple aggressive negotiations. We can try to curve out, get a lot of counters on the board with this thing. It's a possibility. Stormbrood goes up a lot in value when we're Obzon. Our blue and our red are not that deep. Blue is really just double Appraiser. There is the argument for playing the Teamer deck instead of the Obzon just because of the card quality of Karakit Guardian. And then the nice filler Dragonclaw Strike to go with it. But I think Obzon counter synergies here look pretty solid. Not a hardened Tactician deck. Okay, so if I play black to make Hollow Merc Siege as consistent as possible, think our aggressive curve of creatures is not that good. Yeah, we're really low on 2-drops. It's just a stack of 3 mana. We've seen our white. We have a pretty solid creature curve there. There's not a super high quantity of creatures, but I think that they would pair well on the mana curve with our green creatures. That would get us a better aggressive deck towards the +1/+1 counter beatdown strategy. That is really kind of the way to build this pool. Still play the Stormbrood as a combat trick and a late game creature. None of these other black spells are particularly splashable though. Just splashing in the multicolored stuff in the Stormbrood, I think. So we get a Kieran at 2 mana. We get a Dawnbreaker at 2 mana. We get double Detainment for removal, double Pack Beasts at 3, and then the Salt Road Pack Beast for card draw later on the curve. I have double Delcaven Pack Beasts. So 2 ways to sack cards to Hardened Tactician. One Warden of the Grove. If I'm in a board state where I've spit out a bunch of tokens off Warden of the Grove, I'm already kind of winning. Yeah, and then sacking a full-on 2/2 or 3/3 instead of just a 1/1 mobilized token is way weaker for the Hardened Tactician. I don't think we're splashing that in as well. Yeah, I think our white creature curve is way better than our blacks. Again, not a high count of them, but 2/2 drops, 2 really good 3 drops. The Pack Beast up top, 2 great removal spells. I think white is a better core color than black. Or even blue. Blue, we just get a couple 3 mana Sibsig Appraisers. And this Arena Direct with the embodiment of mid. Where's my removal? 1 Piercing Exhale, 2 Stormplane Detainment. That's literally all of it. Going crazy here? There's gotta be more removal. There's a Dragonclaw Strike, a Lion Weight, and small red removal. Okay, there's Rebukes. Okay, red has like all the removal. I could splash blue. I can play Frontier Bivouac and double Tranquil Cove over one of our forests and 2 of our plains. That's 3 blue sources instantly to play Lion Weight and Dragonclaw Strike to add to the removal. Or Frontier Bivouac plus Rugged Highlands is 2 red sources instantly. And I could also pick up the Mardu Monument, splash in the red removal instead. So instead of Lion Weight and Dragonclaw Strike, then we would play double Rebuke, I suppose. Just like no red creatures here. Trying to imagine the deck where we get to play red as a core color to play all this removal. It just doesn't have any creatures. So we would have to pair it with a super creature heavy color, and our heaviest creature color is green, and it's not heavy enough to stand alone, giving us enough creatures here. Yeah, that's just not gonna work. Could go full 5-color Desperation mode just so I can put a Karakit Guardian in here too. I don't think I quite have the fixing for that. 1 single Sagu Wildling, 1 Evolving Wilds for 5-color sources. That's just asking to lose games to mana issues. We only have 2 losses of breathing room. We need to win 6 games in a row. We need to win 6 games before 2 losses in order to leave with a booster box. So in a series of 6 to 8 games, the odds of a 5-color deck playing this sketchy of a mana base, not losing at least one game to mana issues is extremely low, which gives us only one other loss of breathing room to just get outclassed by better bombs or like a quick Mardu deck or something. It feels far too risky to be pushing 5-color for just a couple solid cards. All right, well, I think I'm just splashing a tiny bit of blue to get a tiny bit more removal in here. 17 creatures, cut a little bit of that, get Merchant out of here. Maybe Nature's Rhythm. I don't really have anything all that powerful to tutor for. It's still a decent value play if the game goes incredibly long, because then you get to harmonize it, get another creature, but I don't think it's great here. And I have to cut something. Maybe I actually cut the Stalwart Successor here. Because I have what, like one +1/+1 counter card in this deck? I have one Snakeskin Veil and one Sage of the Fang. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't think I'm ever putting the counters on the Earth Carver though, or just on average. I'm going wide instead of putting counters on that. I still have to cut 3 cards though, so it could be those and the Nature's Rhythm. Oh, I guess the Hollow Merc Siege is our main +1/+1 counter card. I forgot about that. It's kind of lit with Successor if we get the Splinter Twin combo, but outside of that exact scenario, Successor's not doing a lot, and Siege can still do a lot without the Successor. Yeah, this is not a sealed pool that I think has what it takes to win any booster boxes. But still get to play some sealed, try to take this as far as we can get it. Fight for our life here. Absolutely scrap against the better decks and see how far we can take it. Should be a much more interesting day than just our 20th Tarkir Dragonstorm Premier draft in a row at least. So while I am spewing a bit of gems here, it should make for some more interesting gameplay today at the very least than the millionth Premier draft of Tarkir Dragonstorm in a row, so I'll take that. What do we got for the colors? We got 15 green, 9 white, 5 black. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ways to get green is great. Maybe a 10th for Sagu Wildling for that early fixing, but even 9 is pretty good at hitting that Roost Seek early consistently. 9 whites. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pretty good. 5 black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pretty good. Then the blue. 1, 2, 3. No island for the blue. Slightly awkward, but there's only one card in the whole deck that requires blue mana. But I have Evolving Wilds and Sagu Wildling to get whatever land I need, so just being able to tutor for an island now and then does feel very valuable. It might be worth dropping a black source for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 black cards. Most of them are pretty late game. I think I'm gonna drop a swamp for an island. And we'll just plan on tutoring for a swamp more often than not as the first land to grab. But have the island as a backup plan for the hands where we have the line weight and we really need it. All right, yeah. I mean, This is what we've opened. This is what we get to play with here. It's not looking good for us, but that's no reason to call it quits now. Let's just try to keep our heads even, play as best as we can in these upcoming games, see how far we can take this very mid deck. Here we are on the play for game one. I don't think this man is keepable. Yeah, immediate forced mulligan, I think. If I don't draw a plains or a swamp, we die fast. If I don't draw exactly a plains, then we die fast. Because even if I hit the swamp, I'm not doing anything until like turn 5. Alright, that's perfect mana this time. Keep this, ditch the swamp here. The curve stops at 3 mana if we need it to. Black, white, and blue from our opponent, likely 5 color good stuff. Because those 3 colors don't align to any particular clan. So at least 4 colors over there. There's the mountain. Glacial Dragon Hunt, draw, discard, shoot for 3. Natural 4 color in the opening hand from our opponent. No mulligans required. Goodbye, Undergrowth Leopard, and they are 5 color. Champion of Doosan was the discard. Kieran to pick up a detainment if we exile a token is pretty nice. So I'm just going to drop the 2/2. Frontier Bivouac. Looks like we have to just flash the Kieran in as a 2/1 flyer at this point. Fixing from Sagu Wildling. They've got full 5 color on the board already, so this will just be a second source of whichever color they need. Find a black source. Go to the end step, here's the flyer. Put them to 15 and pass. And just Glacial Dragon Hunt the flyer away this turn as their worst possible play. And they play one of the best mythics in the whole format. One-sided board wipe that spits out a 4/4 flyer every single turn. They did choose to play it before turn 7, which I don't generally agree with. Makes it so they don't get an immediate 4/4 worth of value. They were at 15 life there. If they just take another 4, play it next turn, they get to play it, then immediately play a land, get a 4/4 flyer. So when I do detainment it, they're still way ahead on board. But this way, the board's still completely empty. They don't have to play it safe at all, because they've got another bomb rare. If I detainment the Roar of the Endless Song, I am killing a 5/5 elephant and stopping them from doubling their power and toughness. Versus detaining this 5/5. If I detain this 5/5, I take no damage this turn. But then I do take 10 damage 2 turns from now on board. If I detainment this elephant, then I'm banking on hitting the Death Touch source to stop the 10/10 one. But if I hit the Death Touch source, I can stop the 5/5 one too. So I think I just detainment the Roar itself. We're already dead if they have enchantment removal. They just get back the Dragon Back Assault and kill me with 4/4 flying dragons. Man, where were these in every single one of our sealed pools? 2 excellent teamer rares in the same one. Both of these are like mega bombs. This is a sick sealed pool from our opponent. We got a lot of pretty gross aggressive sealed pools in this Arena Direct run. Never got a good like late game sealed pool like these double teamer rares give you. But we had a few that were like 3 white rares or 3 Mardu rares kind of things going on. This will have less mana untapped. If I play Severance Priest, they have the Glacial Dragon Hunt up. If I can top deck another land, though, we can play the Severance Priest and then Piercing Exhale the Elephant, even if they blow up the Priest. Let's see what's in their hand here, but Severance Priest is going to die to Glacial Dragon Hunt. I have no other play for the turn, so we do it. Because we know the priest is going to die, we only exile something if we think the creature they get is less valuable than whatever we exile. What a pool. All right. Sonic Shrieker 2. So they can tap out, kill Severance Priest, and get a 5/5 by exile Sonic Shrieker. And this triggers when it leaves the battlefield for any reason. So they could even just play the Serpent and bounce it and get a 5/5. Yikes. I don't think I have any remotely good options there then. I guess Sonic Shrieker's a 2-for-1. It's going to be a 4/4 flyer and make me discard a card. So it's better to just make it a 1-for-1, just a 5/5. All right. I get to Piercing Exhale and Surveil 2. The Surveil allows me to make sure I hit a land for Armament Dragon and Earth Carver as blockers. There's the Whale of War. That feels good. Get them to Whale of War just for a single creature. Oh no, it's 2 creatures. I forgot about Champion of Doosan because they have it where it like gets scooched to the side and then it comes back. Okay. Whale of War for 2 creatures it is. Champion of Doosan, that makes the Glacial Dragon Hunt recast incredibly cheap. Yep. They do have to discard something real to kill the priest, though. So we get rid of the Boulderborn Dragon again. Oh, man. Yeah, those are both uncastable. Still have an empty board. So a 6 mana card and a blue spell. Yep. Comedy. And tragedy. All right. Well, our deck played out really, really bad this game, so I'm not super confident with our deck build. That said, you all saw our sealed pool. I don't think any combination of spells from our sealed pool is going to beat Dragonback Assault, Roar of Endless Song to start things off, because we got about as lucky as we can possibly get against these two cards, which is to immediately have the interaction for both of them. And what classifies these as mega S tier bombs is the fact that even when you have immediate interaction for them, they put you way behind. The Roar of Endless Song, the second it hit the board, made an elephant, so it 2-for-1'd us even though I had instant removal for it. They play it, get a 5/5 elephant, and make me discard my removal spell. And then the Dragonback Assault, similarly, because it has a board wipe attached, immediately 3-for-1'd us. They play it, kill 2 of my creatures, and make me discard my removal spell. And if they played just slightly safer with it, just took a little more damage there, we would have died way sooner. Like if they had just waited till turn 7 and then played that, played a land, and then passed, they'd also have a 4/4 flying dragon out of it that I couldn't detain because I'd have to detain the assault itself to stop them from getting more dragons. Yeah, these two cards in our opponent's hand this game was going to be unwinnable no matter what we built with our sealed pool. So 0-1 heading into game 2. So taking another look at the deck here in between games. Again, I don't think it really mattered what deck we went into round 1 with. We were going to lose that round. I don't think we have an aggressive enough curve to really try to push in and kill the better late game decks before they start dropping their bombs. So maybe our best build actually is the 5-color deck, just to put all of our highest quality cards in here and run the Karakit Guardian and the double Sibsig Appraiser and the New Way Forward. Like, Field Pool is super, super poorly positioned because the two ways to play this format are to outrace your opponent's bigger, scarier late game plays with a great streamlined aggro deck, and this is as quick of a deck as we can build in the sealed pool. We showed off the creature count in every color, and it's quite low. There's no better curve than the one that this deck has. Or try to go over the top of your opponent's decks and have bigger, better late game than them. Play all of your colors to play all of your bomb rares and stuff. And this sealed pool's card quality is very low for that. It is going to be well below the average deck, let alone other decks that are trying to play full 5 colors and gaining access to all their rares and mythics. So I think we're just stuck between a rock and a hard place where neither build is good at what you need it to be good at. All right, we're not fast enough to really consistently outrace opponents before they drop bombs, and we're not bomby enough to outbomb our opponents in the late game. But I guess we can try it both ways here. I don't think we really have any Pack Beast synergies outside of the Salt Road Pack Beast, so I can cut these for Sibsig Appraisers. Like if I just disregard color entirely and just play all of the literal best cards and then fix the mana base as well as I can from there, what does the deck look like? Literally the maximum possible card quality build is 2 Detainments, Salt Road Pack Beast, 2 Sibsig Appraiser, Bewildering Blizzard probably, Stormbrood probably, Dragonfire Surge, Double Rebuke, maybe Hellkite, but double red's gonna be a really hard sell. Piercing Exhale, Warden of the Grove, Vanguard Wildling. Hallmark Siege is awkward when you're on less creatures. That's getting less good. Mardu Monument, New Way Forward, Karakik Guardian, Lion Weight. Like if we just play the 23 strongest spells and pretend that our fixing is perfect. They just aren't that strong, honestly. Kieran's probably in there with double Detainment, double Sig Appraiser. Maybe Sarkhan's Resolve to blow up dragons. This looks awful to me. So we cut Hellkite for more green, so we can play green as a super core color. Splashing and everything else. I don't know. I'm sure I'll get a lot of comments for build suggestions on the video. Maybe somebody found something absolutely genius with the sealed pool, but it doesn't feel like it has any legs to it any way we build it. I'll just try this deck out, because might as well at this point. I don't see how this sealed pool ever goes 6-0 after losing the first game, and the first loss is inevitable no matter what deck we take into that game because of Dragon Tempest plus Roar of Endless Song. So, if anybody can come up with a build of this sealed pool that they think can go 6-0, not even 4-0, be my guest. I would love to hear it. But I'm just going to play this absolute nonsense pile for game 2 and see what happens. Does this really have a better chance than our Obzon core deck? I'm gaining a little bit more removal. Oops. 1 Karakit Guardian and a new way forward. That's like about it. It's probably not even better because the card quality doesn't even rise all that much. All right, never mind. I'm just I'm in the bargaining stage of grief right now. Yeah, I don't think there's much bargaining with this this sealed pool. This is really not that much stronger than just going Obzon, so it's probably not worth the worst mana. I'll just go back to the deck we started with. 0-1 heading into game 2. Here we are for game 2, ready for stage 4 of grief. Started with our deck build at the very start with Denial. Get double bombed in game 1 for Anger. Go back to the deck build with some bargaining, hoping to go 5 color. If we're going through all 5 stages of grief, it's time for Depression. Hopefully that will not happen though, because this hand is much stronger than our hand game 1. Obviously, whenever we get our second loss and we're kicked out of the event, that'll be acceptance. Sandstep Citadel and pass. Get our 2-2 and pass. Playing against black-white, 2 colors with some good cheap removal like Caustic Exhale, Osseous Exhale, Stormplane Detainment. I don't want to run out the Warden instantly here. I think I would rather Sage the Fang, and it's also solid on this board because it allows our 2-2 to attack in immediately here. And it's an Obzon mirror match. Their Embermouth Sentinel picking up the forest. Dragon Brood's Relic is the play, more fixing. There's the Disruptive Stormbrood to blow up that token, so now with no other relevant plays, we cast the Warden and hope. That was the 1 removal spell in their opening hand. Alternatively, we Stormplane Detainment the Dragon Brood's Relic. It's actually not awful. Keeps them off of any ramp plus fixing. And if they never blow up our Stormplane Attainment, then it also keeps them off the big gigantic dragon they get out of it later. You know what? Let's actually Stormplane Attainment the Relic. they are 4 or 5 color. We see a red source now, so probably is pretty decent. We got rid of this mana rock. And again, worst case scenario, it's kind of like killing a big dragon later, because we'd have to throw removal at that 4/4 lifelinker later anyway. Here's a Warden to probably get blown up, but now I have genuinely no other plays. Teeming Dragonstorm. Very good card with any dragons, and they've already shown us multiple that they've shuffled back into their deck. Speaking of dragons, there's a Sagu Wildling that is super helpful here. I only get to cast Piercing Exhale or Sarkhan's Resolve here, but with only 1 mana up from our opponent, they can't ruin either of them as a combat trick. I do need a white or a black to be able to actually cast Armament Dragon here, so I don't think I can afford to pick up the blue for the 1 of blue spell right now. I probably should have attacked both. They're down to 11. We're at 14 here, so it's a close race. Wild. I wonder why. There's got to be something really weird, some strange reason they choose that instead of just holding it to play with the Dragonstorm once they hit a 6th land. So they've got something in their hand they think they can outrace us with pretty well. Let's try clearing out a bunch of their creatures here then. Really slowing them down. Land, I like that. Tap land first, because I need the untapped land at 6 mana. Put them to 3. Sagu Pummeler is a blocker. Dead to removal if they attack here. I obviously know that I don't have removal, but they don't know that. They can't kill the Warden on attacks, so we force a chump. I think it matters the order. Yeah, I have to choose before my stuff comes out. There's the concession from our opponent. Warden of the Grove takes it for us. We get at least 1 victory with the mid-sealed pool. We're 1-1 here, and we are dodging depression for now. Here we are on the play for game 3. Get a turn 3 Severance Priest guaranteed, and then work my way up the curve from there. Evolving Wilds turn 1 from our opponent. Grab the white source off the Wildling here. So I only need the 1 black. More white cards than black spells in this deck. Okay, still Sagu Wildling here. But now I can actually do it for blue. So I go Forest for green, and then those 2 for the white and the black. Green and blue from our opponent. They start things off with Einok Wayfarer. Mills 3 spells. 1 really mediocre one, 2 that are pretty good though. Severance Priest, check out what's going on in their hand. So I'm going to die to a Rennie. Unless I defend this Severance Priest like my life depends on it, exiling your Rennie. Because it's like I can die to them casting it at 8 mana. Or I can die to them blowing up Severance Priest and getting an 8/8 for free. They're on only 3 mana right now with no card draw in their hand. If I get rid of Twinblade Disciple, they have no plays just yet. I think we need to try to outrace a Rennie, which is insane. But it is way too risky for them to just end up like piercing, exhaling, and getting an 8/8. I don't think I can take the piercing exhale either, because then they play a Wingblade Disciple, which is pretty dang good. Stormblade Attainment's the draw, that's not bad at all. Jam in and Stormbrood if they try to kill this. This way we get to kill the Wayfarer for free. It does soak up our turn to do this, because we have to hold up the Stormbrood. But we get a nice 2-for-1 on them. Discard just the Stormbrood to kill their Twin Bolt and their 2/2. There's the Aegis Sculptor. So I'm going to need to Stormblade Attainment that, because I need them off of the Piercing Exhale. They have one unknown card in hand. And we have some beat down here with Inspirited Vanguard. To where even if they kill Severance Priest and get a 3/3 on board, Inspirited Vanguard should be killing them. Another great threat here. Hopefully that one top deck was not a counter. Juicing up the toughness first, because their one removal spell we know of is damage based. So high toughness is incredibly relevant. Unless they play a Death Toucher. They've drawn all the lands naturally. They haven't missed a land drop, so they're at 6 out of 8 mana to win this game on the spot. But without a creature in hand, they drew removal too. Okay. We still have pressure here. Unless they go runner, runner, land, land, I think we can get them. That's the land. They top deck one more in a row, and Rennie resolves before they're dead. Oh, Lord, please. And all we draw is a land here. They'll have 8 mana on board. They can't actually kill all of our creatures. We'll get to keep one of them out. I mean, this is still basically we just need them to not top deck a land. I guess I'm supposed to buff the Sage itself, because they're just going to kill these two regardless. They have 8 damage to use wherever they want it, so 4 there, 3 there. Even if I put a counter here, they just spread it like that. This is still going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. Still put them to 3. Man, oh man. I have literal no shot after Rennie resolves, right? Looking through my deck here. I could draw the one of Sarkhan's Resolve, that's the only out. So I guess it doesn't really matter where I put this counter. So in case they draw some like cheap removal or something, just get a little more damage in for the turn. The monastery does give them another shot at hitting the land. Oh, that's nasty. Tap land. That's a tap land right there. Final draw step for our opponent. Oh! Give me a break, Arena, please. Let me find Sarkhan's Resolve. Here I am bargaining again. We're gonna lose to 3 different Teamer Mythics? That's crazy. It was all the Teamer cards. It was Dragonback Assaults, Roar of Endless Song, and now Areni. I think this was the right way to play it. If they literally just missed a single land drop this game, they would be dead by now. Oh, Menace? Oh, that's another win, another out that I wasn't even considering. Oh no, they have the blocker off the 3/3. Ah, still good. Shoot. No, I forgot to get the 3/3. Oh, that sucks. These don't actually do anything at this point, I think. Because they have the piercing exhale to kill whatever I pick up anyway. Yeah, if I play either of these, they just piercing exhale. I literally have to hit the destroy a flyer. I can't even try to Holomerk Siege them here, I think. Because they just piercing exhale. Maybe, so I could have hoped that they misplay hard here by keeping Stormbrood on top. Then they attack with the Rennie, and then I go Holomerk Siege attack, and when they try to piercing exhale, I respond with Absorb Essence. That's a potential winning line, but it requires them misplaying. And not just killing the Sage immediately. It also requires them not drawing another creature. And it requires them attacking with the Rennie. I forgot to put the stop during my upkeep. That might get me killed. If the Resolve was in the top 2. Resolve was not in the top 2. I could have drawn Kieran instead of this land, but then I wouldn't have the mana to play the Siege and the Kieran. I guess I had to hold the Hexproof trick and just pray that our opponent misplays. God. What a day. I guess they would have misplayed. They didn't cast the Exhale, and they did attack with the Rennie. But it would have had to have been that plus no creature draw from opponent. It's rough that that stacked up to where we could have potentially won there. Well, it is what it is. Even if we somehow sneaked that victory in here, no shot this deck goes 5-0 from there. I guess 4-0 at this point. Needed them to just miss one land draw this game to win. That's so sad. Yeah. Yeah, I should just hope they punted. Because they did in the end. But it's again, it feels exceptionally risky because we're hoping that our opponent plays a very specific way and that they don't draw a creature. But that would be playing to win to that as an out. I still think the much safer out, though, is just drawing the way to blow up the flyer. But we have no idea how deep that is in the deck, so it's a pretty risky way to play, trying to dig to that. Man, could have maybe beaten a Rennie here. Yeah. Did not see the 5-head level genius line. And that's tragic. But even if I did see it, again, this sealed pool goes no farther. This deck sucked compared to what we played against. Even our win, we played against a way stronger deck than ours. So all 3 rounds, we were heavily outclassed in card quality. Sealed pool quality. Fought pretty hard, as well as I could, but that was not good enough. We could have been 2-1 here, potentially, off that Stormbrood play there. But even then, fighting for your absolute life, scrapping as hard as possible will not win games of Sealed when your opponents have access to incredible rares and mythics, and the vast majority of players do. In Tarkir Dragonstorm, this sealed pool is genuinely unwinnable with, I think. Yeah. I mean, the percentage of the time that this sealed pool manages to get a booster box is just insanely low. It is so below average. Really, really weak sealed pool to end it on. That's a pretty sad way to end the Tarkir Dragonstorm Arena Direct, but at least we got to play a little bit more exciting competitive Magic instead of just more random Tarkir Dragonstorm Premier drafts. So there was that. The games were still pretty exciting. You know, like losing to the Areni in the end does suck there, especially when there was a potential line to try to get the win that I didn't gamble on, but it turns out I would have won if I did gamble on it. Like, that was a super, super sad ending. That was definitely the depression stage. But it was still a cool game that we, like, nearly outraced an Areni. And our first one was really cool. The first loss was pretty brutal. It just wasn't much of a game. The Dragon Tempest and the Roar of Endless Song. But overall, not the worst games ever for going 1 and 2. So there's that as well. All right, I'll stop yapping. We'll move on here, get to the next event. That is 1 and 2 for the final run of the Tarkir Dragonstorm Arena Direct. So our overall record did get hindered quite a bit these last 2 runs with the 0-2 into the 1-2, but they were particularly brutal runs where I don't think there was a ton we could do. Could be 2-2 here, probably, at worst, going for the Dragon Lethal risky line. But highly doubt the sealed pool makes it much farther than that at all. So I guess the record now, before these last 2 runs, was 15 wins, 10 losses. We got 1 more win and 4 more losses, so 16 wins, 14 losses. Still a positive win rate. Not a particularly positive win rate, but I think considering the sealed pools we got, considering the decks we played against, still pretty respectable for how the cards fell in this event. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.